The Wise Monk and the Path to Calm. In a quiet village nestled in the mountains, a young man named Rohan struggled with constant overthinking. Every day, his mind was filled with worries about the future and regrets about the past, leaving him restless. Determined to find peace, Rohan decided to visit a wise monk known for helping people find inner calm. The monk, Master Heron, lived in a small temple at the top of the mountain, surrounded by nature. Rohan climbed the mountain, hoping that the monk would have the answers to calm his troubled mind. When he arrived, the monk was sitting peacefully by a pond, watching the ripples in the water. "Master Heron," Rohan said, "I cannot stop my mind from racing with thoughts. Can you help me?" The monk smiled and gestured for Rohan to sit beside him. "Tell me about these thoughts that trouble you," he said. Rohan explained how his mind was always racing, worrying about things he couldn't control. Master Heron looked at the rippling water and said, "The mind is like this pond. When disturbed, it loses its clarity." He picked up a small pebble and tossed it into the pond, causing more ripples to form. "Do you see?" he asked. Rohan nodded, understanding that his constant thinking was like the ripples disturbing his inner peace. "How do I still the ripples of my mind?" Rohan asked eagerly. The monk replied, "You cannot force the ripples to stop, just as you cannot force thoughts to disappear. You must let them settle on their own." Rohan was confused but intrigued by the monk's words. Master Heron stood up and motioned for Rohan to follow him into the forest. "Come, let me show you something," he said as they walked quietly through the trees. Rohan followed, wondering what lesson the monk had in store for him. They came to a clearing where the forest was alive with the sounds of birds, wind, and rustling leaves. "Close your eyes and listen," the monk instructed. "Listen to the sounds, but do not label them." Rohan closed his eyes and began to hear the sounds more clearly, without attaching meaning or judgment to them. After a few minutes, Rohan opened his eyes and felt a sense of calm wash over him. "Why do I feel so peaceful?" he asked the monk. The monk smiled and said, "Because you let the world be, without trying to control it, and your mind followed." "But what about my thoughts?" Rohan asked. "They still come and go, even now." Master Heron nodded. "Thoughts are like clouds in the sky. You cannot stop them, but you don't have to follow them either." Rohan pondered this, realizing that he had been chasing every thought instead of letting them pass. They continued walking, and the monk led Rohan to a river flowing gently through the forest. "Look at this river," the monk said. "It flows naturally, without resistance. Your mind should do the same." Rohan watched the flowing water, understanding that trying to control his thoughts was like trying to stop the river. "But how do I let go of control?" Rohan asked, still unsure. Master Heron picked up a leaf and placed it in the river. "Watch what happens when you let go," he said. The leaf floated gently down the stream, carried by the current without any effort. Rohan watched the leaf float away, feeling a sense of lightness in his own heart. The monk explained, "When you stop trying to control every thought, they will pass on their own, like the leaf in the river." Rohan nodded, feeling a deeper understanding of the monk's teachings. "It's not about stopping thoughts. It's about not clinging to them," Master Heron continued. "Thoughts will come and go, but peace comes when you don't hold on to them or give them too much importance." Rohan felt the weight of his worries lifting as he listened to the monk's words. They sat in silence by the river, and Rohan began to feel a stillness inside that he hadn't known before. The constant chatter of his mind seemed to quiet as he focused on the present moment. For the first time in a long while, Rohan felt truly at peace. "How can I practice this every day?" Rohan asked, wanting to keep this newfound peace. The monk smiled and said, "Practice being present. Whenever your mind starts to race, bring your attention back to what is here and now. Rohan realized that his mind had been stuck in the past and future, but peace was only in the present. Master Heron gave Rohan a simple mantra: be like the river, flow, don't hold. Rohan repeated the mantra in his mind, feeling its calming effect as he let go of his need to control his thoughts. He understood that life, like the river, would flow naturally if he stopped resisting. Rohan thanked the monk and returned to his village, feeling lighter and more peaceful than ever before. The teachings of Master Heron echoed in his mind, reminding him to let go and allow life to flow. He practiced being present each day, finding peace in even the smallest moments. At first, his mind would still race with thoughts, but Rohan remembered the monk's words and let them pass. Each time he caught himself overthinking, he brought his attention back to the present moment, calming his mind. Slowly, over time, the racing thoughts became less frequent, and peace became more natural to him. One day, a friend from the village noticed how calm and peaceful Rohan had become. "How did you find such peace?" the friend asked, marveling at Rohan's transformation. Rohan smiled and replied, "I learned to let go of what I cannot control and be present in each moment." Rohan began sharing the monk's teachings with others in the village who also struggled with overthinking. He taught them to be like the river, to flow with life rather than resist it, and to let go of unnecessary thoughts. The village soon became a calmer, more peaceful place as more people practiced the art of presence. Years passed, and Rohan became known as the calmest, wisest person in the village. Though he still had thoughts, he no longer let them control him, living each day in peace and mindfulness. He often returned to the temple to visit Master Heron, who smiled at how much his student had grown. One day, Rohan visited the monk to ask one final question: "Master, how do you always remain so peaceful?" The monk chuckled and replied, "I let go of the need to be peaceful, and in doing so, peace comes naturally." Rohan laughed, realizing that the lesson had been simple all along. Letting go of control was the key. As he left the temple that day, Rohan knew that he would carry the monk's wisdom with him for the rest of his life. He felt no need to rush or worry, for he had learned to trust the flow of life. And as he walked down the mountain, he smiled, knowing that true peace came from within. Moral of the story: peace is not found by trying to control your thoughts or the world around you. True calm comes from letting go and allowing life to flow naturally.